Hello, hello. During this video, I'm going to talk about War 102 not having nukes and the pros and cons of that. First, I would just like to give a quick rundown on how nukes work. Nukes in Foxhole, just like any other game like COD or Civ, can be a powerful tool of destruction. They can deal massive damage to enemy structures and personnel, changing the tide of battle in a matter of seconds. However, they also have significant drawbacks that should be taken into consideration. Here's some brief information about rocket launch sites and nukes. There are 8 permanent rocket launch sites placed around the map. These sites do not change if it is a north or south, east or west battle or anything along those lines. They are always in the same spots. In order to use it, you need a construction vehicle, 200 refined materials, and 10 players in the same squad. In order to construct the rocket, it requires a rocket booster and a warhead in your inventory. After the rocket is launched from the rocket launch site, the site is permanently destroyed, meaning it cannot be used again. When your team is ready to fire the rocket, you will need a spotter on the front lines. Next, launch codes need to be entered by 3 players from either the squad that built or the enemy faction in order to begin the launch sequence. This will commence a 15-minute countdown and result in a game-wide message that will be broadcast to each team. A siren alarm will play for anyone near a world base in the targeted area to audibly alert all nearby players that the spotter is nearby and a nuke is coming. This message usually results in a massive manhunt for the spotter depending on the importance of the target. The siren will stop if the spotter is killed, and also once the launch codes have been entered, the launch can only be aborted by the spotter canceling his transmission or again dying. Once the nuke or rocket lands, the blast will destroy players, vehicles, and structures, and it will scorch buildings such as town halls, relics, seaports, factories that cannot be rebuilt by either faction. Despite the rumors, the Great Warden Dam itself cannot be destroyed by the rocket and will not result in a flood. And if you want to get really nerdy about it, the rockets in Foxhole aren't actually nukes. They are like a V2 missile. Now, this is the first time in a long time that nukes have been disabled. There were like 5+ wars back in like the 40s, I think. I can't quite remember. Maybe somebody in the comments can let me know which wars I'm thinking of. And that was an extremely brief lesson on nukes. Maybe in the future I'll plan to do a more specific video. But for now, again, I just want to talk about War 102 and what it was like not having nukes. The idea of having nukes in the game is really cool, but it seems like the implementation needs a lot of work. And from my point of view, I think taking them out of the game made this war a lot of fun. I'm going to go over some ideas about nukes and possibly how to fix them, or if we even still need them in the game. Now, overall, I think nukes probably do need some sort of bug fixes or mechanic adjustments, especially when it comes to spotters. But one of the pros is they did solve a problem that happened near the end of this last war. The losing faction had such little space to work with that the queues were ginormous. The Wardens had such big queues, very few people could actually play the game, and a lot were just waiting at borders for the war to end. So maybe no nuke wars should maybe only go to 30 victory points instead of 32. This might give that losing faction a little bit more space to work with, and then the winning faction doesn't have as long of queues to get into other hexes. What are all your thoughts on this idea? Let me know in the comments. When I first heard they were taking out nukes, I really automatically assumed that the war would last longer. And this war did last 36 days and was the second highest casualty war in history. I do believe if we would have had nukes this war, it would have ended a lot quicker. So I thought about it quite a bit, and when nukes are normally in play, do they come too soon? Maybe we need nukes to come around like day 30 or day 35, and that's when the tech becomes available. Maybe it really does need to be treated more of a last resort, and it needs to come out around day 35 or 40 plus, and it's basically just to speed up the war and end it a little bit sooner. I know most people don't like this opinion, but I like forever wars. I think they're really fun. So what actually is a nuke selling point? It is to just shorten the wars. But unfortunately, one of the issues that comes up with nukes is how the nuke team is using them. We've seen in previous wars that sometimes nukes just don't get used in the best spots. And that feels bad on the losing faction if the winning faction is constantly getting good nuke hits while yours are constantly missing. And kind of my last idea, again, I think nukes are really fun content. I think they maybe just should be a little bit more limited. Instead of having the 2 to 3 nukes that factions can fire at each other, maybe just have 1 per side. Maybe even make it more destructive where it does take out an entire town on its own. That way you can't miss. It's honestly pretty easy for a new nuke team to completely screw it up and ruin it for your entire team. I will say I am very happy that there was no spotter drama during War 102. And I liked the no nuke war. It felt better. It felt like it was 2 even sides going at each other. And it didn't feel like some sort of like tennis match where you're evenly matched, you're going at it, and then one of the tennis players just randomly pulls out like a gun or a bazooka and kills you. Overall, I wouldn't mind if they came came back in a different way, as they are kind of fun and neat, but I think this war definitely proved that they aren't needed at all. And as I've mentioned several times, the mechanic itself just needs changed. Ultimately, the decision to include nukes in the game like Foxhole is a balancing act between their potential as a gameplay mechanic and their impact on the overall experience. As with any other aspect of the game and in Foxhole, the developers must weigh the pros and cons carefully and make informed decisions that benefit the players and the game as a whole. And I stand on the side that taking them out right now is a really good idea. What are your thoughts on the last war with no nukes? Did you like it? Hate it? Let me know in the comments. Should we continue to have no nuke wars? If nukes come back, what would you do to change them to make them mechanically better? Let me know again in the comments. Personally, I loved the no nuke war. Good all the way through, way less drama. And honestly, with the satchel changes, I feel like the war just felt better. I may have to make a video about satchels to kind of explain that a little bit more. Thank you all so much as always for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more Foxhole content. Feel free to join our community Discord below. We'll see you all in War 103. Cheers.